The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Albany County News. I'm Mary Rozak, the Director of Communications for Albany County. And in the next half hour or so, I am going to be talking with a woman who's going to tell us about a program that is designed to help our community grow. When I say grow, I'm not talking about growing plants. I'm talking about growing economically and how we do that. And there are some new programs available to help us do that. Linda McFarlane is joining us.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And I should tell everyone where you're from, the Community Loan Fund for the Greater Capital Region.
For the Capital Region,
For the Capital Region, okay. I knew I would add something in there that I shouldn't have in there. I should just look, Community Loan Fund of the Capital Region right at the bottom. First of all, for folks who are not familiar with the organization, tell me a little bit about the broad strokes, because you, as an organization, have been around for quite some time.
We have been. We've been around now for 34 years, and we are classified as a community development financial institution certified by the U.S. government through the Department of Treasury. And it means that our mission is community development, working in neighborhoods to help people who are low income, very low income, moderate to low income, but to help sustain the efforts of the communities. So we work with people who aren't able to receive traditional bank financing.
Okay, so everything from starting a business to probably helping to purchase buildings and such.
We do. We focus on women and minority-owned businesses, startup micro-entrepreneurs. We also provide loans to nonprofit organizations that provide needed services and programming in low-income census tract areas. And we are able to provide home ownership to individuals of low income.
Wow, so that really runs quite the gamut from, if you're thinking about residential to business to the nonprofit sector.
Yes.
Let's start with some of the nonprofit information and what type of groups, to name a group or two, or some of the projects and services have you been able to partner with?
Certainly. We work with a lot of nonprofit organizations. We cover an 11-county area, so surrounding the Capital Region, but we go north to Warren and Washington County, further down Columbia and Greene, Rensselaer County, Fulton, Montgomery, Schoharie, and Schenectady counties, and then Albany, Saratoga, to make that full sort of an oval.
That's a very large area
It's a very large area. So with nonprofit organizations, we fund a couple of different ways. We quite often will fund if a nonprofit has received a grant to complete a particular project or to do some programming. Quite often, either one, it takes a long time for them to receive the grant funds, so they have to start the project first, or it may be in the grant that they have to complete the project and then get reimbursed. So we will fund based on the executed grant. So
like a bridge fund.
It's a bridge loan for nonprofit organizations. So we've done some very fun projects. We have worked with Living Resources and with their college experience program for young adults that have learning disabilities that are able to partner. We did some financing with the St. Rose group and providing housing so these individuals can go in and have the college experience and learn skills to live more independently. It's a fantastic program, and Living Resources does it, and there are other models of that around the U.S. But the housing needs can be a little bit different. So you may need, for people with disabilities, need certain different aspects in housing, and the cost of putting in that for the housing does not add that much value to your property. Similar if you put a swimming pool in your house or in your backyard.
Sure.
It doesn't increase your property value by the amount of the swimming pool. So there are some improvements to buildings that are cost more for the safety of the people that are in the buildings, but they are not increasing the value of the property.
Okay.
So banks aren't able to finance a building where the cost exceeds the value, and we are able to finance for that as well.
Okay, so when we're talking about residential properties, are we talking about, adding accessible ramps and that kind of a thing? Or are we talking about, if someone is purchasing a home and has to redo bathrooms or widen hallways, or what?
In this particular case, it's dorm room style.
Okay.
But dorm room style where you're going to have possibly wider doorways, or you may need ramps, something to that effect. But that particular example was for dorms. We also work with different affordable housing groups like BNI in Schenectady, Affordable Housing Partnership, the Community Land Trust, in order to help them. Their focus is on affordable housing, but they need lines of credit financing to purchase and improve a building, and then, and in some cases, have a long-term mortgage on that, and then they can offer that as affordable housing to their clients.
Okay, let's talk about the third component, because we've hit residential, and it's time now to talk about the business end of things. And it is very exciting when we hear about groups that are really focused on helping women and minority-owned businesses.
Yes.
I hesitate when I say excited. I mean, it is 2019. You would think that we would have more minority-owned, more women-owned businesses, and yet it is a struggle. How is it that you can help, and what is it that you can help women and minority-owned businesses launch?
We focus on brand new startup businesses, and they are risky. Whether it is a hair salon, or it's an ethnic restaurant, or a dog grooming business, or a construction company. They're startup businesses, they are brand new. So that makes them risky in terms of they don't have a success history. So if you look at traditional bank financing, they want to see a history. How much money has the company been making? What are their profit margins? We look at it and say this is a needed business in a community, and it's quite often an individual of low income as well. There is never enough collateral on these types of loans, and people sometimes will have not the best credit. When they're applying for this type of financing. There are certainly women and minority-owned businesses that can receive bank financing, but they tend to be in a higher economic level. So when you look at people who are lower income or a brand new startup with risk and not sufficient capital, that's where we step in.
So that's really, some would say, a leap of faith.
It is. To go along with that, two things happen. One is we start every conversation with a new prospective borrower. We were started by a group of nuns. They provided $10,000 to us because they saw inequality in housing and wanted decent, affordable housing. When you share that story, people think, I could be borrowing nuns' money, so I really need to repay that loan. So that works to our benefit. But the other thing that we do is we provide a lot of training and technical assistance. So we help people prepare business plans before they take a loan out. We help them understand what the nature of running a business means. What are all the different aspects? There are legal concerns on how you set up your business. There are banking concerns. There's marketing. There is real estate. There's your target audience. Who are you looking to sell your product to? So a lot of considerations, and we offer training on all of those aspects. And once you open your business, the challenges can be a little bit different. So we started looking at businesses that were struggling once we've given them a loan. And we reached out to businesses and said, what are your challenges once your doors have opened? You are successful, or you're having challenges, or you weren't successful. Why was that? And we got a lot of very solid information back, but the number one challenge for small businesses, financial management.
Okay.
Because when you start your own business, you are doing something that you're very passionate about, something that you're good at, and it's passion. And for most people, that is not financial management. That's not managing a balance sheet and an income statement.
Sure.
So we developed a series of 12 new trainings, and these are free. that address the needs of startup businesses once their doors are open. We received some grant financing, we were able to purchase some laptop computers, and we offer a series of 4 QuickBooks courses. Just as a quick example, we acquired the laptops, we acquired thumb drives, we asked our borrowers to come in with their financial records, and sometimes it is in a shoebox. Sometimes it's proper records. But they came in, and our certified QuickBooks Pro advisor spent time talking about the setup of a business, because the setup is essentially the same regardless of your business, and then the intricacies can be a little bit different. But once it was finished, they took their thumb drive back to their office, they took their financial records back in a box or however otherwise, and then the QuickBooks Pro advisor went and spent 2 hours with every business to make sure of 2 things: 1, that they were set up properly, and 2, that they knew how to use QuickBooks, because if either one of those 2 didn't happen, it would be disastrous.
Sure.
And so it's just an example of us listening to our borrowers and understanding what their challenges are and how can we provide training and technical assistance to make them more successful.
Well, we're going to talk about some of the other programs and some of the other things that you're here to talk about today. But it sounds like on the surface that you have a huge business and you've got a huge following and all of these people that are, at the ready to help. What is the reality of the size of the Community Loan Fund?
We are a staff of 13 people, including myself, and 2 of those are part-time.
Okay. So how do you manage all of this?
I hire people based on belief and mission. I can teach people a skill set. I can't teach them to believe in what it is that we do. So every person on my staff and on my board of directors and every person on all of the committees that we have believe in the mission of the organization. They believe in empowerment. They believe in sustainable community development and in supporting minority and women-owned and individuals of low income. We all believe that. So once you have that core belief, we work a lot. We all do different types of things. My lenders not only do financial analysis and close loans, but they also manage the portfolios. But they review business plans, and they talk on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis to their borrowers to find out, really what's going on. Do they need any extra help? How is business going? If you are struggling in your business, the last person you want to talk to, maybe second to last, is your banker. You don't want to talk to the IRS either. But we want to have that ongoing positive relationship with our borrowers so that they know if they are struggling with something that we can talk them through. We may have a training class that they can attend, or one-on-one we will work with them, and those are all free. What we want to do is make sure that the loan that they're repaying they are able to repay the loan.
Sure.
So we also have the ability to restructure loan payments in the event that has to happen.
Okay.
We loaned money to a diner in Ballston Spa a while ago, and fantastic food, great business model, and it worked well for a number of years. And unfortunately, the owner had become ill, and so she had to close for a period of time. She tried other people managing the diner; it didn't work. But we were able to work with her to restructure the loan, so she didn't have that financial burden on top of her health concerns while she was trying to become healthy again.
So it sounds like it's a. Gosh, I hate to say the word more humane, because I don't mean to imply that others are not, but I guess it's more of a, it really is a community feel and a community one-on-one very personal touch.
It's a very personal touch. We are more concerned about the success of the individuals and their businesses and improving their lives, more on a human services side, but what we're doing is providing the financial products so that they are able to do that.
So let's talk about some new things. I know that you have had, and as we are taping this, some of these have already transpired, but you have an 8-week business planning course.
We do.
tell me a little bit about the planning course. And I'm sure just because there's one already underway doesn't mean they won't start again. So when someone sees this, they can
Certainly.
find more.
Our next course is starting January 18th, and we do this in partnership with the College of St. Rose. It's an 8-week business planning course, and it does exactly what the title says. It allows people to plan to open a business. It plans for all of the different aspects within business that you'll need. We get volunteers from the community who are experts in their field to come in and talk about insurance and talk about marketing and talk about database management and talk about the legal aspect, the financial aspect, and come in. And it's a very structured program, but it meets for 8 weeks, typically on a Saturday morning for 3 hours.
Okay.
And we, upon completion of that, people decide either, yes, I am ready, I'm committed, I know what it takes to open a business, or they say, maybe not right now, or maybe not at all. Maybe this isn't what I thought that it was. And that is also a success story for us, because we don't want someone investing all of their savings and everything they have in something that they're really not ready to see through because they weren't well educated on what it means to run your business.
That sounds terrific, because it's almost like when you tell, I have interns, and to do an internship, you need to know sometimes at the end of the internship, I have had an intern or two over the course of time say, I know that I just really don't want to do this.
Right.
And that's the best way before you go out in the real world and you try a job, and then you may get a bad recommendation after, or no recommendation.
Yes.
So I know you said some things are free. Is this free, or is there a cost involved with
There
this?
is a course with the 8-week business training course, because it is 8 weeks in
Sure.
duration. And if you start this in January, and in February it's a nice sunny warm day on a Saturday, you may want to take advantage of that to get outside and you're not in the snow. These types of things happen. So with a fee involved in it, people are committed.
Right.
We do offer a scholarship, though, because we recognize the fact that a lot of our participants are individuals of low income, so we offer a scholarship as well.
Okay. What is the approximate cost of this 8-week?
The cost is $240 for the 8-week course. Scholarships are typically 50%, so $160, but sometimes it can be less than that.
Certainly not a large investment when you're thinking about, how much it will cost to start a business. So
Right.
certainly a good investment there. I'm Mary Rozak, Director of Communications for Albany County, talking today with my guest from the Community Loan Fund of the Capital Region, Linda McFarlane. We are talking about these classes, but there is also, you don't have to go to classes in person anymore.
You do
So
not.
let's talk about that as well, because that's another thing. I can't imagine taking an online class. I'm the old school. You had to go. You sat in the classroom.
I
Don't
know.
quite get that.
Yes.
And every so often at work, when we have, you got to do this webinar, you got to do this other thing. To me, it's a little foreign, but a lot of people really, it's very flexible to be able to do that.
It is very flexible, and I can tell you my undergraduate degree was in person at the university, and my MBA was online, so I have experience with both. But we launched our online business training module, and similar to most of our workshops, they are free. And we had a very generous grant from JP Morgan Chase to be able to develop and launch our online training platform. So it starts with business basics, and you can go in, sign up, take business basics courses, and get certificates once you have completed the course. But it's 24/7. It's very flexible. You can do it on a Sunday night. You can do it on a Tuesday afternoon. It doesn't make a difference. And you can do it at your own pace. If you have questions with course content, there is a link to reach out to us at the office, and we will respond either via email or a phone call back. We always welcome one-on-one over the phone or in person, but the idea is we wanted to be able to reach people in our not only in our further outreaching in catchment area, but also people around the state or around the country. My understanding is we've had people find us on the website, and they were just looking for training for small businesses.
Sure.
And we are popping up. So
Because
with
this
search
really
modules,
it's open for everyone.
it is open for everyone. Yes.
Do you find, as you're saying, people from across the country, do you find that just about anyone across the socioeconomic or demographic backgrounds that they are reaching out to take advantage of some of this?
Yes, and so we have people who are young, that are interested. One of our 8-week business training, well, 2 of them actually were high school students and had small businesses where they wanted to be able to formally launch a business to help pay for college. And so that word has spread. So we have some young folks that want to just be able to have a business to be able to further their education or to support themselves as young entrepreneurs. And then we have single mothers. We have single fathers. We have people who are in second careers. We have people who are disabled and aren't able to, from a transportation perspective, get to our courses. So it's varied by age and by socioeconomic status.
The office itself is really an example of in the building, really an example of what you're talking about. Because if I'm not mistaken, last time I was there, which has been a little while, the office on Orange Street, you do actually have businesses in the building.
We are in an incubator building, yes. The building is owned by the Albany Center for Economic Success, and we are affiliated with them. Our top floor is for startup businesses, minority, women-owned, and startup nonprofit organizations. So we have 10 suites where businesses can come in and they pay below market rate rent. And the rent is based on the maturity of the business. So if it is a brand new startup business, it will be a lower rent. And as the business grows, the rent increases until they're about market rate rent. And then we can help the businesses move out to market rate space someplace else, maybe where they're going to be more visible in the community. And then that opens space up for another startup business coming in.
It sounds wonderful, but what kind of businesses might lend themselves to being in that environment? Are we talking about a personal services of some kind? Or
we've had, recently we've had a minority-owned construction company. Okay. We have a woman in minority-owned hat boutique. We have had an events planner. We've had financial analysis. We have had, we currently still have a printing company. We have nonprofit organizations that have to do with, we have United Tenants and we have affordable housing in the building, as well as the Community Loan Fund. So there's a nice mix. We've got also a handbag and dress maker in the business, and in the building, and a group that works with at-risk youth to help give them guidance.
You've got really everything that runs the gamut there.
We certainly do.
Do you find that some of those business owners actually are interacting? I'm sure they use each other to do their printing.
And we encourage that. We encourage the interaction. We provide training and technical assistance to the businesses that are in the building free of charge, but we encourage collaboration as well. And you will find one person walking down the hall saying, I'm having this particular issue with a collection of a receivable. How have you handled that? To another business owner, and they can engage in that conversation and help each other out, as well as come to us for advice.
So you do an awful lot of things, and that requires money.
It does require money.
So how does the Community Loan Fund sustain itself?
Well, as I mentioned, we were started by a group of nuns. So we have investments in the loan fund where people, similar to a certificate of deposit that you might take out at a bank, you put money in, the bank holds it for you. Ideally, they can use the money, and at maturity, they'll pay you interest and you can take the money back. So our investments work in a similar fashion. You invest money in the loan fund. We pay you interest for the use of your money. We pool all of the investment dollars together, and that's our lending capital. So we will get investment from banks where they get Community Reinvestment Act credit for investing with us, which helps the banks out and it helps us out. I mentioned faith-based organizations, businesses, and socially concerned individuals. We started a new program this year. We test piloted it, and it's just coming to an end, and we're looking forward to it next year, called the Emerging Investors Network. And what we did was, we're sort of the millennial age group of folks that wanted to give back in the community and make a difference and didn't really know how to do that. Our investments start at $1,000 for personal investments, and that's too much money for a lot of folks. So we met with a couple of young professionals professional groups and devised this model where people can invest $100 a month. We get 10 investors together, and they're in a little community. So they each put in $100 a month. And when you look at the group together, there's $1,000 to start with, so you can start an investment, and each individual investment grows month by month until they have a $1,000 investment.
Okay.
And doing it as a community, we offer different types of workshops for them, and we bring them around and talk about the businesses that they are helping to finance. We give them tours, and it's an educational piece for them as well, not only on savings and how to make investments, but the impact, the social impact that they're having in their communities. So that has been very powerful, and we're just finishing up our pilot this year, and we are going to run at least 4 more groups of that next year. So if anyone's interested in starting to invest, and we have found that not only is that appealing to young investors, but also to people who have retired that may want to start an investment in their grandchild's name.
Sure.
Or a group of people, we've had a group from a particular church that pulled together to make monthly contributions into their investments.
What's the period of time that if you have a CD, it's for X amount of time when you participate in a program like this, or if you're a single investor? How long is that money invested for?
We start with 1 year, and people can say, I want it for 30 years. They can say, I want it for 20 years or 15 years. Sometimes people will invest with us and say, my child is in kindergarten, and in 12 years, I would like to have access to the money to help pay for their college education. So we can put a 12-year maturity on it. It's based on the needs of the individual with that particular investment.
And so at that point in time, that money plus the interest is given?
We pay interest on an annual basis and then principal at maturity.
Okay.
And the other way we are funded is through grants.
Okay.
So we are, as I mentioned, certified through the U.S. Treasury as a community development financial institution. So we can apply for grants through the U.S. government. We also apply through Empire State Development, and a lot of bank foundations will offer grants. There are a lot of community groups that offer grants, so we will apply for those. JP Morgan Chase is a great example with their grant for our online training application.
Wow. What did you do before you came to the Community Loan Fund?
My background is in commercial lending. I was a banker. I had the opportunity as a high school and college student to travel. My uncle was an international banker, so I got to spend summers in different countries, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. And after I graduated college with my bachelor's degree, I actually did that for 4 years. I was an international banker, and I lived and worked in Hong Kong, and it was very exciting.
Sure.
A great thing to do when you're young. It's harder to do when you have a family. But when I came back and was working as a commercial lender and realized that some of the larger banks in the area may have a product or a service of the month, and they push that product on their customers. A lot of times you want it to be the right product or service for the customer, but there were enough cases where it wasn't the right product or service. And I wasn't comfortable with that, so I moved actually to the credit union side, where it was more customer focused and not so much product focused, and then took it one step further and came over to the loan fund. I've been volunteering at the loan fund for a number of years in that volunteering during the 8-week business training program, so I was familiar with that. But that, coupled with my concerns of women in particular that were not able to get adequate financing for their businesses, whether they were paying more than male counterparts or being asked to have their husbands co-sign for loans, when in the reverse that wasn't happening. It was really my desire to provide better financing for women-owned businesses, and the same is true for minority-owned businesses.
Sure.
It's being able to improve products for that marketplace was what really drove me.
Well, it sounds like this is your passion, and it's definitely a good marriage. So
thank you.
So thank you for sharing a wealth of information with us today. I know if anyone out there wants information, if you go to mycommunityloanfund.org, you can find out more. Linda, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Linda McFarlane from the Community Loan Fund of the Capital Region. I'm Mary Rozak. This has been Albany County News. We'll see you again soon.